ain't gonna let nobody turn me round, turn me round, turn me round. I ain't gonna let nobody turn me round. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking. I'm headed up the freedom way. This holy hill here, this sacred place, this open place, this godly place, this place. I'm downtown sometimes and I see this place. I'm driving away and I look in the mirror and I see this place. This place is here and inside of me too. Place. That's a rich word, isn't it? Place. It's grounding. It's raw. It's real. It holds me.
On this hill, you got possums, groundhogs, lots of rabbits with a lot of brand new baby bunny rabbits that hop around and run straight away from your car when you drive. There are chipmunks, raccoons. Most recently, there's a woodpecker intent on making a home in the column out front. And I think there was at one time, for a brief period, a bobcat that lived on the property.
A lot of trees immediately, but then City Hall is right there in a very dramatic way. So that's kind of interesting. The other aspect that is also so close by and so much a subtle reminder of a real devastating problem in our country is that the jail is right there as well. and while I've been in attendance here, they've built a bigger jail, and then they've expanded the one that's there. So
no homeless shelter in the world ever had a better view than this. I mean, it's like people will pay thousands of dollars for a view like this. This is a mixed neighborhood, but it's traditionally kind of a black neighborhood. Right across the street, there was, what was her name? Mary Ann? And she had the biggest numbers bank this side of Asheville, and she hit it with a play school. You know, all the runners came from all over this area and dropped off. And there used to be a shot house over here, you know.
Oh, before there was a church, there was a sanatorium here. And we don't have a whole lot of information about it, but what I have is this picture, this two-story building, and it speaks about a building with verandas and inside toilets. Can you get a load of that? Verandas and inside toilets. But it has the serenity about it. And before that, I don't know what was here, but there are all these wonderful things that are around us too. There's Stevens Lee School across the way. Can't you just see it? Kids going for miles around coming to good old Stevens Lee. They called it the castle on the hill. And across the way was the Allen School. And then we're surrounded by these other wonderful churches, and we're brothers and sisters around here. We feed into each other. We got a cousin who goes over there and a sister who goes over there. But we all get together sometimes, and we know that we are kin.
Well, a lot of my memory about this neighborhood in particular is spending a lot of time at the community center, Stevens Lee, that's really close to the church. As far as church goes, you know, just being here and seeing how they interact with the kids in the community was really cool. You know, me being here for a while, you know, I've participated in a few things with girls of faith and things that we do, and it's unique how they just come. You know, when they see the doors open and they see us come, and they're like, you know, oh, you know, they're really excited about it when it happens, and they come without question.
There was a wonderful man named Dusenberry who came from the north to see if there was a place for a Presbyterian church here. And he went back and told them there is a place. And Dusenberry worked day in and day out. In fact, he died young to bring about this church. And then other people began to gather, come into the labors. And one thing led to another. And this church came together and has given and continues to give so much to this Asheville community. Along the way, there was the Dusenberry School. The Dusenberry School lasted for almost 25, 30 years, I forget now, but it was 10 cents a week or 40 cents a month to go to the Dusenberry School. There was a tiny tot nursery. Many African Americans in this community speak about the times that they had in that basement. And they talk about a wonderful woman named Della Eddington, and she stood with her hands on her hip with an expression on her face that said, I love you, but you will do this and this and this in this house. And along came Hospitality House, a shelter for homeless men and women that went on for 20 plus years. And it was built on the order of Dorothy Day, where it was love, it was respect, it was a kindness, it was a care for people. And so that undergirds this church as well. That NA group out there where there are 70, 80, sometimes 100 people, they undergird this church. And I can't even begin to call all the names who just march through these corridors and who've lent themselves to this place.
There are different kinds of prejudices, and we have so many prejudices in our own race, until really we don't need to father anybody else's. And even growing up, this was a church that was sort of for the sedity people, the people who were professionals, who just didn't mingle with the regular everyday folk.
When church service here, the energy is bubbling over for me. I come through the door with my heart open and receptive to what God has for me. And so for me, the energy is very good. And for me, this space is so, so blessed.
I have twin nephews. They're 8 now, but they grew up in the church as babies. And having them here and everyone just loving the twins being here and watching them grow up it's really nice. And they would run around this church and sing. And on cue, after every service, and when we sing, they always yell at the top of their lungs, Amen, 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 Amen. Let the church sing. That's their favorite part. But it's funny because when they do it, we kind of watch everybody else in the church kind of get silent. We kind of fade out because we want to hear them singing it. They usually sit in the very back, but we just kind of leave the floor open for them to do that. So that's really cool, and we love that. And everybody looks forward to that when they do it. So that's cool. That's cool.
The warmth that when I came in, people were very kind and warm and accepting. And that meant a lot.
I think people who go to Calvary are not going there for social one-upmanship or anything like that. It's not a church that is going to look good on your VID or anything like that. It's a real church where people really love God, and if they're there on Sunday, they're there because they really love God and each other and everything, and so it's a privilege to be with them.
Sometimes some people are very set on how they introduce each other, or how they meet each other, or how they're connected, and I think Calvary's a little more relaxed on that, so that's good. It's kind of, nobody's set Nobody's looking at who's at what, or nobody's following those stringent kind of, oh, these are mine. You know, there's a lot of different little hidden rules of living that Asheville has.
I'm free when I come here. I am as I am, and I don't pretend for anyone. I don't like people that well. So, and I love people, but I don't pretend. So I'm free. I'm free. I am as I am, and I think I smile a lot, I think, and I'm just given the freedom to be the person that I am, the warm and most of the time glorious person that I can be.
It's kind of a small church, and so you go around and you hug everybody, and you really get to hug pretty much everybody. And so you feel like it's your family, you know, like, and you can learn the people's names because of this part. And so it's just a friendly, happy place.
Growing up, I was always told that if I was in a meeting or an interview, I needed to be 110% better than anyone of another race in order to get what I was looking for. And so when I come here, I don't feel like I have to be 110% better. I think I can just be who I am. So that makes a big difference, you know, because I don't feel the competitiveness of I gotta make sure that I'm speaking correctly, I look correctly, I'm dressed correctly, and all those things, you know. I have to, my posture is correct. So it's different. I can just kind of be slouchy if I need to be. You know?
You have to bring light by being there. And if we would be in the basement more, light would be there more. We are here, so the light here is brighter, but that doesn't mean that it's less than the basement. I mean, that the basement is less. It's just that we're not in the basement as much as we should be.
Oh, the basement. I know that when other people walk through the basement, they see disrepair, they see the needs of that basement. But again, you have to listen to the basement. The basement talks to you. The basement has a message. The basement undergirds the building. Doggone it, come on. Come on. It's sitting on the basement. The basement is rich. The basement is full. The basement holds spirits of ages, you know. I can't even begin to tell you the value of that old basement.
I remember one area we had cleaned out for the kids, trying to kind of keep them, had a space for them. This was when my boys were a little bit younger, and an area for them to play and, yeah, not much time though, not much time.
No, that's, I've been down there, but I don't want to go back.
Yeah, it needs to be fixed up really bad.
Why do you think that is? Why haven't I spent time in the basement? I don't know why I haven't spent. I guess because I haven't indulged myself in going into the basement. But I know that they did a lot of work in the basement. It's had different uses over the years, but I have not went to the basement. I've kind of just showed up on Sunday.
I've had a lot of people say the space themselves, they love it. It's not, you know, not cookie cutter. And we love that about it. I do. And I love also the fact that we can do it inside or outside. There's not a lot of places you can do that because you have to be not where everyone can see you. That's the whole point of it. So to be able to have that outside when it's beautiful and the sun, oh, it's gorgeous. I love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah. It was over 20 years ago because Bill Clinton was still president. And there was this series of church burnings that was going across the South. And I think it was 38 church burnings. I mean, you know, like I said, attacking the very, you know, center of what, you know, African American pride and stuff. And so the Reverend here, that was before Miss Pat, decided to put people in here, people who would care about it, people who were loved and would at least react to get the hell out of here. You ain't burning this church down.
I would say 17 years ago, I had a friend who had an addiction, and so she was here living. And so I didn't realize the magnitude of how helpful it was for her and how unjudgmental that this community was to her. Me being her friend, of course I wasn't judging. So it was just a great feeling to know that she was somewhere getting help and being loved by a community.
This was the men's dorm here. The two supervisors would live in this room here. We had a divider there. This was my office here, and the ladies lived in the room that is off the hallway there. So there's a laundry room outside and around the corner, a big cupboard here. They've taken a lot of that down when they started to remodel this room a little bit. So it looks a little different than it did, but it's still pretty much the same.
Miss Pat transferred all her tolerance, all her patience, all her love, all her compassion to this place. And she gave a place for people who were like me. I was fucked up. She didn't care if you were drunks or gruggies, or you had to stay, clean here, and you had to, do your little chores and stuff, but there was nothing. They didn't put any pressure on you. She was basically saying, I love you, and you can stay here as long as you have to.
What they do, which I thought was really nice, is when you get these bigger meetings, you have tons of people, you see a lot of faces. When you're new, you are raw, you are insecure, you're so vulnerable. It's like literally feeling like you're in middle school on the first day and you came from out of town. It is so scary. So when I came in, there was all these shadows, but there was just these candle lights. And I just remember seeing the light and people surrounded in a circle. And it was kind of, instead of set up like a square, people were just surrounded by layers and layers of chairs. And I just remember being so scared, but for some reason I raised my hand, said my name was Amanda, I needed help. And everyone was just so welcoming. And also it was very humbling and just kind and opening is the best way to say it. Like there's no judgment there. If you think about it, you have a candle, right? And you can see, but everyone's faces, it just makes you feel more comfortable, more able to speak. You're not doing the whole, like, is someone looking at me, So I really liked it. I really enjoy it.
I know as an African American living in Nashville, there's not many places that I go and feel comfortable or feel like I'm as, like I don't go out because there's not a lot of places that I like to go out to here.
I would just say that it brings the community together, whereas you're moving outside of your comfort zone. So, you're comfortable with your race, and that's just how it was growing up. You went to your church and you saw your neighbors, your friends, your schoolmates. And then when I came here, it was different. It was just different people, So I was like, this is a little bit different. Let me see how this goes.
I mean, I'm great. I love being black, but there's at times, I think, of being a black person in Asheville, there is a sense of divide on just on the challenges of resources and things. And it's not necessarily just on economics, it's just on people just not relating and understanding each other.
This neighborhood is changing. It's changed quite a bit since I've been here. It went through a brief violent period. It's a historically black neighborhood. It's becoming the word's gentrification now. There's $400,000 houses being built next door. You hear the hammering all day.
The neighborhood has become more diverse to me. And for me, that's not bad. That's a good thing. The thing that bothers me about the diversity is that the homes that they're building in the area is pushing out the black community because the price is so high that it's not affordable. Not only for the black population, but for Asheville itself, the population, the older population that was here, the older people that grew up here, they can't afford. They cannot afford to live in the economy that we have today. They just don't. And they don't have the jobs to support it.
I just remember growing up and we would have our Goon-based festival there that was, kind of African-American based festival there that was held downtown, and going to that every year or just on the weekends. And I mean, that was our place, it felt comfortable, and that's not there anymore, But I mean, the street's still there and people have been bought out, and, different businesses are there, and, it kind of goes back to that, just pushing out what's different or what we don't want anymore, or what, what's not as interesting to whoever's coming to visit.
And I know I've heard in talking with people who are living as part of the homeless community here, have said, my parents or my grandparents always had a home there in the East End, and now that's all gone, and I'm here in this situation. So I think there have been some changes in that way, but I think there's also a real depth of identity with a lot of people who have lived here a long time, or who lived here at one time and perhaps don't live here now, but continue to see it as a real part of their home.
Oh, their voice is strong. This place was a healing place. This place was here when no other place would hold them. People came from far and near all across this country, and they found a place that cared for them. They found a place that offered them refuge. They found a place that nurtured them and helped to strengthen them day by day by day. And again, they undergird this place. You know that there's reading or some kind of old saying that says, when I couldn't feel myself walking, that God carried us. These are the angels that God has sent to carry us. And I know most people don't hear them, but I don't care what most people think. I ain't most people, and they don't talk to everybody either. You have to be on a certain plane to hear them talk to you. I'm telling you. And when Miss Wynn comes through and she said, "Oh, child, you're just going through a season. It's going to be all right. You just hang in there." And or when I hear Miss Daly said, I'm praying, and I'm going to hold you up. I'm going to hold you up." And they do. They do all the time. When I walk through here sometimes in the wintertime, and I'm saying, God, watch the plumbing. Don't let the pipes freeze, or God, let that old furnace keep going. And I hear Miss Davis say, "It's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right. You're gonna make it over." And we do.